What's up, guys? This is Coach Nate. We're going to be jumping in and talking about intermittent fasting today. This is a hot topic right now. A lot of people are talking about it. So in this video, I want to talk about a couple different things. One, who is a good candidate for an intermittent fasting diet? Two, what's the best type of intermittent fasting for your body type? Three, how do you do an intermittent fasting diet without messing up your hormones or causing yourself any undue stress? So we'll jump right into that. If you like the video or you have any questions on it, leave me a comment here or email me, post in the Facebook group, get in touch with me somehow. I hope you like it. So generally speaking, when people talk about intermittent fasting, they tend to hype up a lot of these benefits, and then they talk about kind of some of the reasons that this is a kind of a magical diet. It works so well. It's so much better than X, Y, or Z. But the reasons that diets work, any diet in general, not just intermittent fasting, is that you are restricting your calories. That's literally it. So keto, intermittent fasting, Atkins, low carb, the cotton ball diet, all this shit, they all work because when you restrict calories, you lose weight. When your calories in are lower than your calories out, you start to drop weight. That's it. That's the magic behind any diet you choose, okay? That's the reason diets work. Now, that's an overly simplistic view because it doesn't take into account like hormonal stuff and if people have thyroid issues and whatever else. But that's why it works. So what's great about what you said, Michelle, is that guy was restricting his calories for 15 hours every day and then allowing himself to eat for 9 hours every day. So he's cutting back his time of eating by 6 hours in the morning, right? So that's a really, really great way of doing it and can be super, super effective. But I wanted to talk a little bit today about how to make sure that you're using intermittent fasting appropriately for yourself and not just getting pushed into like a one-size-fits-all intermittent fasting diet because someone told you, oh, this has really worked for me, and you're like, oh, let me jump into that. So there's several different variations of intermittent fasting, and some of them, and like the really, really hot one right now is this daily kind of time delay one where you stop eating at like 7 or 8 p.m. and then you start eating at like 11 a.m. or noon. And that's popularized by a guy named Martin Burkhan called the lean gains approach, okay? And I'll get into a little bit more of this, like of the why in a second here, but that diet is a really, really awesome option for men, okay? Doesn't necessarily work super, super well for females. And the reason, we'll talk more about that. The next hot one is a 20-hour fast and then a 4-hour feeding period. This is called the Warrior Diet, popularized by a guy named Ori Hofmeckler in his book, The Warrior Diet. This one, he doesn't actually not eat all day. He eats like small vegetables and like just things that are not going to really raise his insulin level or cause like a massive glucose reaction. This one's kind of a tougher one to do though. I've tried all three types, and I'll tell you what my favorite one is and what I had the best results on. But that one was a little bit tougher mentally. The third one is doing a full 24-hour fast without really eating any food in that 24 hours, and then going about your week like regular, just normal, how you would do it. And then doing that either once a week or once every other week, kind of what fits your lifestyle best. So why is intermittent fasting beneficial? Why is it like more beneficial than just say dropping carbs? So a couple different reasons. Number one, it can optimize your hormonal levels. All right, there's a lot of different hormones at work, and for me to be like, yeah, I know all about the hormones, I can tell you all about them, would be really, really overselling my capabilities as a nutrition person. But there's two specific ones that work for males and females called ghrelin and leptin, which regulate your hunger. All right, so when you get into this cycle of, it's called insulin resistance. This is what we're talking about when talking about hormone optimization. Insulin is a hormone that basically takes the food that you eat and it shuttles it around into your body and either repairs muscles with it. It will build muscles. It'll build fat. It tells your body where the food you eat should go. So it's really, really an important chemical and an important hormone in your body. So when we are in a metabolic syndrome or an insulin resistance pattern, what happens is we'll eat, let's just say we eat a big thing of white bread, okay? So then our blood sugars rise like this, okay? So if our hormones are not optimized, our insulin will be like, oh shit, we got a bunch of blood sugar dropped onto us. Let's get now some insulin, and it'll put the wrong amount of insulin in your body. So then that insulin helps that blood sugar drop down, but now you have insulin just floating around. okay? So what that does is it signals to these other hormones, ghrelin and leptin. They're like, yo, we have insulin. That probably means we're hungry. We need some sugar to move around. So your body sends these hunger cues, and then you were like, wow, I just ate a loaf of bread, but I'm hungry again. So you go and you eat some candy or something like that, and you bring that blood sugar back up. Then your insulin's not quite ready, so it bumps back up over the level of blood sugar, and you kind of get this varying elevator type thing. Intermittent fasting can help regulate that because it kind of helps let everything drop down, relaxes like the insulin, like the thyroid and hypothalamus, which are responsible for distributing those hormones, and it can really help you get out of that cycle. So it's awesome that way. Number two, when you're not eating, when you're not digesting food, you're in a process called autophagy, which is your body's own natural cleansing pattern. It helps you break down old cells that didn't necessarily have, like that have kind of been broken or aren't functioning anymore. So you break them down, you replace them with new cells. It's how your body repairs itself. That's why they say that you have a new body every 7 years, okay? So the cells you have today will not be the cells you have in 7 years in any form or fashion in your body. And some of them break down slower, some of them break down faster, but all in all, that's why we like, it's another great reason for eating really, really healthy food is because we're constantly repairing and replacing our cells in our body. So let's repair them and replace them with good shit and not bad shit. Cool? Lisa, how we doing? Having a great time? Excellent.
Can you hear me?
I can. Hi.
Oh, wow. I didn't think that worked.
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
I know my video's not working.
Okay, it's all right. I forgive you.
I'll have to work on that.
Next time. Another great thing about intermittent fasting that people won't tell you is that it kind of shrinks your stomach. So if you go 16 hours without eating, you go 24 hours without eating, your stomach just goes from like being expanded because you just ate a huge bowl of oatmeal to just being a little bit smaller. So when you do go have like a big sandwich or a burrito or whatever else, you'll get through half of it and you'll be like, oh, I'm not quite as hungry as I thought I was. So then you can either do what we as Americans do and push through the pain. No pain, no gain, right? And so we will crush that burrito, expand our stomach, and kind of get back into those habits. Or you can let that intermittent fasting kind of be a jumping off point where you don't necessarily have to eat as much because you're not as hungry. So it's awesome. It also, so there's a lot of different studies on intermittent fasting. Very few for ladies, a lot of them for guys. But in obese men and women, doing an intermittent fasting protocol, people drop body fat, they drop their weight, they drop their blood pressure, they drop their total cholesterol, they increase their healthy cholesterol, and then they decrease their triglycerides. You can also increase your tolerance to stressors in your life. So if you have, like, it makes you better at adapting to your workouts, adapting to like different stresses from your family, from lack of sleep, things that arise in our lives. Okay. So those are the great things about intermittent fasting. Now let's talk about some of the cons of intermittent fasting and maybe why someone wouldn't be a good fit for this. So if you're not careful, what happens if with that 15 and 9 or 16 and 8 fast, Michelle, is that you can get to lunch and be like, oh, I'm starving, I'm having McDonald's. And if you didn't plan ahead, you can really binge eat something super crazy and then really undo everything we just did with that 16-hour fast, making that kind of sacrifice for no reason. The other big thing is that people don't talk about is that intermittent fasting for females is a totally different animal than it is for males, okay? So the 16 and 8-hour fast for females, it can be really, really negative if done for over time, because females seem to take it more, like males seem to adapt to the stress of a 16-hour fast a lot better than females do, and females have a lot more hormones that they're dealing with, especially when it comes to menopause, their periods, and just different like hormonal adaptations to stressors. Okay, we're different animals because if we think about it biologically, female mammals, their drive is to reproduce. So your body is always trying to keep you alive to enable you to reproduce and have offspring. So if you're fasting, your body can be like, whoa, we don't have enough calories to have this baby, even if you're not pregnant or whatever. And it can start shutting down important processes. It can become a huge stress. So I have a friend. So she's a fighter. She's a Muay Thai fighter, professional. And she was doing an intermittent fasting protocol because it enabled her to cut weight really, really rapidly. But she did this over a period of 9 months and eventually just totally crushed her adrenals and went into a state called adrenal fatigue, which can be really, really difficult to recover from. So she was really lethargic, didn't have a ton of energy, felt bad, wasn't sleeping well, had insomnia and stuff, because she was doing this fasting protocol for a long time. Hey, Jeremy, how you doing? Good to see you. We're right in the middle of talking about the cons of intermittent fasting. You missed all the good stuff. Just kidding. We'll go back through it. Jeremy, if you have any questions, or Lisa, Michelle, you have any questions, type them or just ask me anything you want to know. Any questions so far on what we've talked about? Michelle, you feeling good?
It's good.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to say for males, intermittent fasting, especially that 16 and 8 model, is a awesome option. It can be really, really great, especially if you're the type who doesn't really like to eat breakfast anyways. So I did this style of eating for about 12 months while we were in Seattle. And I didn't eat breakfast at all. I wouldn't do anything that would raise my hormonal or my insulin levels. So I would only drink black coffee and water in the morning until about noon. At noon, I would go have a workout, and then I would start eating again about 1, okay? And for me, this was a very, very effective way for maintaining a lean body mass. It just gave me a ton of energy because you were always activating your sympathetic nervous system. That's that kind of stress, fight or flight reaction. Because when you're in that mode, when you're not eating, your body's like, it's not like, oh, let's have a nap. It's like, yo, dude, we need to go get some food. Like, we got to go figure out where we're going to get some berries or eat, an elephant or something from. So it activates your sympathetic nervous system and enables you to like be more on. Okay. So I found this to be really, really helpful in like my morning appointments, or if I wanted to be creative first thing when I got up. So I'd get up, have 32 ounces of water, and then I'd have some black coffee, and I felt great, almost manic, which is more of a me thing than an intermittent fasting thing. But if I wanted to have like a ton of energy and feel great, this was an awesome option. Now, the reason I don't do that anymore is because intermittent fasting is very, very difficult if you have any desires of gaining any weight or gaining muscle, which is not necessarily the truth or where all of us are at. So I don't do that anymore. I do a different style of fasting. So now let's talk about that 24-hour fast, which I think is probably the best option for a lot of us for a couple of different reasons. I think a 24-hour fast is great mentally because it does expose you to hunger, okay? And we as Americans, we haven't been hungry since the 1940s, right? It's just not a thing we're ever really accustomed to. And the second we get hungry, what do? We lose our fucking minds. We think like, oh, we have to go eat. Like, I'm so hungry. I got to get something out of the fridge. We got to go. Like, where are we going to eat? Or we at some Mexican food restaurant. So we just get crazy about it. So being able to identify, yes, I'm hungry right now, but how am I actually feeling? How's my energy? Okay, I feel pretty good. How's my mental acuity? Okay, I feel pretty sharp. How is my working? Okay, I'm doing great at work. Okay, this hunger is not really that impactful for me. And we all have body fat. We all have energy stores. So unless you're 10% body fat or under, fasting is a great option for that reason. Then the other reason is that during 24 hours, it almost puts you in a meditative state for that time period, but without necessarily needing to, fast and do sackcloth and ashes and, burn our clothes or whatever else. So it's just a really, really awesome mental option. Now, the way we can do a 24-hour fast most effectively is not by waking up in the morning, not eating all day, going to bed hungry, because that can result in a lot of real strong hunger pangs when you wake up, and it can also result in poor sleep at night. So what the better option is to eat an early dinner. Let's say we're doing this tonight on Monday night. We eat an early dinner, let's say 6 p.m. tonight, and then we fall asleep, we wake up, we don't eat anything with calories that's going to spike our blood sugar, and then we eat a later dinner at 7 p.m. tomorrow night, okay? So that way you're not going a full waking period without eating. You're still making sure that you're getting some food in. Plus, that late night dinner is going to fuel you for the next day. It's going to cause your digestive system to kick in so you sleep a lot better. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. Now for females, if you're getting to the point where you're 20 hours in, you're like, I'm gonna die, I need some food, and you're just having really, really strong hunger reactions, go ahead and eat. That's no big deal. You can always push it the next time or just stay within that 20 to 24 hour window. But you're gonna get a ton of benefits from just doing that. And it's really, really not that huge of an impact on your life. So the other reason I think that the 24-hour fast is that it's not as good is because it's not something we're doing every day. It's not something that's going to put you into an adrenal stress reaction. and it's something that we can use kind of as needed as we go forward. So if you're already at your goal weight, or you're already feeling like you're in an ideal situation, a great thing you can do is just doing like a 24-hour fast once a month, you know? Okay, so now maybe you need to lose a little bit of weight, you're trying to kick it up a notch. Let's take it to every 2 weeks doing a 24-hour fast. Okay, but let's say you're in a period where you're like, okay, I'm gonna buckle down, I'm not gonna drink alcohol, I'm gonna really eat nutritious food, I'm gonna try to lose this weight, I have 20 pounds to lose or whatever. Then we can drop you to once a week of those 20 to 24-hour fasts and get tremendous results in a short period of time, really get a good transformation, and then like transition into our once every 2 weeks, once a month fast for our maintenance levels, which is really, really awesome, okay? So here are the best practices to make sure that you're gonna get the most out of that 24-hour fast when you do it, okay? Number one, you're gonna want to be in a higher fat diet, okay? This goes for men and women. So the way we can do that is we're gonna first optimize our protein, all right? So if you wanna take notes on this, go right ahead. The ideal amount of protein you can be taking in is 0.9 in grams times your body weight, okay? So if you weigh 100 pounds, you're gonna wanna get 90 grams of protein per day. If you weigh 200 pounds, you wanna get 180 grams of protein per day, okay? And then this is just our baseline. We start with protein and then we move on from there, okay? And then what we wanna do is we try to shoot for between like 30 and 40% of your diet in fats. So if you wanna do the math on that, the only thing here is that we wanna make sure that we're not eating super high carbohydrates. We wanna start transitioning our body to be using fat more for fuel, because fat also is essential for optimizing our hormones, especially for women, okay? So all that to say, start eating a little bit more fat, and you get fat from nuts, you get it from oils, from avocados, and from meats as well, okay? So thinking about ditching your chicken breasts in favor of chicken thighs. You know, don't shy away from red meat or pork, okay? Just start using those healthy fats in your diet. So switch your canola oil to avocado oil or a coconut oil, things like that, okay? Back to the best practices. How do you make sure you get the most out of your fast? You're also going to want to make sure that you're sleeping 7 hours per night. Fasting is a stressor, okay? It's stressful for your body to go a long time without food. Not bad. Working out is a stressor as well, okay? These things are important for us to do. We want to make sure that we're not overdoing them in conjunction with a stressful lifestyle. So if you have 5 kids, they're always running around, you're sleeping 4 hours a night, fasting is probably not a best option for you. You want to make sure that you're getting enough food and getting energy from that. So you want to make sure you're sleeping 7 hours per night, okay? Also, don't fast daily. They did a study on women where they were fasting every other day, which ended up putting them into like a really, really like stressful situation, fatiguing their adrenal glands, and just not generally being the best option. Okay, and then for females, if you're fasting for a while and you find yourself, you miss a period, stop fasting, okay? That's your body telling you, don't do this anymore, okay? It's too much for us. So back off on that, increase your level of your caloric intake from fat, and then try to do some recovery protocols, some meditation, and sleep 7 hours a night, okay? And then if you're starving, if you get to the point in the day where you're like, oh, I've got to eat, I'm a monster, you just go eat, okay? It's not a big deal. You can always try again next week, all right? So, and then if you find that you're doing one of these 3 things, stop your intermittent fasting, go back to a more standardized diet, and go from there. If you're starting to feel like you're gaining weight in midsection, if you're having any insomnia, or if you miss your period, those are the three horsemen, the big tells of why you shouldn't be doing intermittent fasting. Okay, so kind of just to go over what we were talking about, just to catch everyone up, fasting is great. It optimizes our hormones. It makes us more insulin sensitive, so that when we do eat our food, the more the nutrients we eat go to muscle, which is really, really awesome. It's going to shrink our stomach, which makes us less hungry long term. It's going to put us into a process called autophagy, which is going to clean our cells out and replace broken and bad cells in our body, because that's something we can't do when we're digesting. So this is kind of the contrary belief to our, eat 6 small meals per day advice that's been really, really popular for the last 10 years or so, okay? So that's why fasting is a good option. The 16 and 8 hour fast is great for if you're a guy and you don't necessarily need to eat breakfast. But I believe that the 24-hour fast once a week, between once a week and once a month, is really, really ideal for everyone. And it can be done super successfully to either maintain our weight, lose a little bit of weight, or go through a transformation period, okay? And if you're going to do a transformation protocol using a fasting diet, I actually wrote up a fantastic option. It's a 6-week full diet and full workout program that are designed to go together that are going to help you lose the weight you want to lose safely without overtaxing your body and put you into what I call the metabolic snowballing effect. So a lot of people tell me that, oh, when I hit age 30, 35, 40, my metabolism just tanked. And that's not necessarily true because our metabolism at age 25 starts going downhill at a very, very steady, slow rate of 0.05% per year, very slow. Mostly what happens is our metabolism decreases by decreasing our energy level or our activity levels and decreasing in our muscle. So this will help ramp up our metabolism and get you back to burning the calories you want to burn so you can live the life you want to live and not necessarily worry about having a couple beers on the weekend, okay? So fasting is not the end-all be-all, but it is a fantastic way for you to have your cake and eat it too, essentially. So it allows you to get the best results from your diet, use those nutrients appropriately, and then not necessarily stress about the little things on your non-fasting days. Does that make sense? I'd like to open up for some questions. If you got some questions, post them in the comments or turn yourself off of mute and ask away.
Hey, Nate.
Hey, Jeremy, what's up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, man. Good stuff. So is the idea of intermittent fasting a daily schedule of fasting during a certain period of time, or is it that once a week fasting?
So there's a couple different types. The two most popular types, or the most popular type right now is the daily 16-hour fast. So basically it's not eating from 8 p.m., closing your kitchen at 8 p.m., and then not eating until noon the next day. That can work really, really well for men. But for women, I found it to be problematic because it can really stress out their hormones because women's bodies are designed to keep them alive and potentially help have them like make a baby. So any like prolonged starvation-esque stresses can really mess with their hormones. But for you, doing a 16-hour fast can be a really great option on a daily basis. It can help you stay energized, stay in what's called keep your sympathetic nervous system active, which is that fight or flight response. So it's going to help you stay creative, have a little bit more mental acuity in the morning, and generally feel really good for a workout. So
what were those time frames again?
So the 16 and 8 hour fast is really, really popular. And what I did when I was doing it is close the kitchen at 8 p.m., eat again at 12 p.m. The other one that I think is really effective is the 24-hour fast. And that's where you close your kitchen a little earlier, 6, 7 p.m. And then you don't eat again until the next day dinner, 7 p.m.
So is it better just to pick one of them? You wouldn't do the 8 to 12 and then also once a week do a fast.
No
need.
You
pick one.
Correct. Good question.
Cool.
Lisa, any questions?
No, I have some feedback though.
Hit me.
Just I've been doing the intermittent fasting, the 16-8 now for about 4 weeks. It's not as hard as I thought it would be to not eat for 16 hours, but I'd say the biggest challenge that I have is eating enough calories in that 12 to 8. Because sometimes I get busy and I'm gone in the afternoon and then I come back and, I'll have a meal and I'm not hungry, but I'm now well below 1,000 calories. So I think if you're going to do it, I'm at home at noon and I pretty much wait for that first meal before I leave. I leave. So it's not necessarily the most portable. If you're out in the morning, you better plan your food so that you can have something to eat. Otherwise, you are stopping at McDonald's because you're hungry. So, but I think longer term, what do you think about just if you're not a fan of the 16-hour, what would 12 hours do for your body?
I think 12 would be fine. I think there's no studies on the 12 that I was able to find, but I think that for females, like that 12-hour fast is not so different from what we're doing anyways. It might just be delaying your breakfast in the morning a little bit and then wrapping up dinner a little earlier, and then not snacking, which I think can be really, really helpful. So I think a 12 would be fine, pretty normal. That's not going to be super stressful at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it has been helpful for me is I do have this eating window, and I don't snack all day long. So really the hardest part is from about 10 to 12. At 10 o'clock I go, oh, I'm hungry. At 11, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And then, you know, I kind of lose track of it about 11:30. And then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I can eat now. But I always have something healthy with me or readily available, so that I can break that. But it's more of the afternoon that I can, if I am not constantly eating, I will not make my calories. And I don't think that's very good.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think with that, what you can do is add in an additional protein shake, like make a really healthy protein shake using some, not just protein powder, but also like some green leafy vegetables, throwing a handful of spinach in there, getting some fruits, some berries in there, and then getting some healthy fats in there as well. So almond butter, peanut butter, something like that. Maybe just even like some medium chain triglyceride oil, the MCT oil, or anything along those lines. That's going to give you a really complete balanced meal, but it's going to be a shake, and it's not going to be as hard to eat. Especially that's a great option at like 2-3 p.m. too.
Yeah, what would be your base for that? What would you prefer for the base, like an almond milk or?
Yeah, I think an almond milk or just water's fine, especially if the protein's good. If you want a little bit thicker, the almond milk is great, or like coconut water can be really excellent as well, especially after a workout.
Oh, right.
But no milk, that's kind of defeats the purpose a little bit. So.
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks.
And then would y'all want me to email you the meeting notes that are like the notes I wrote up for this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. I'll send them all to y'all's email. Any other questions, comments, or anything else that I can help you out with before we wrap up today? Awesome.
No, that was really helpful. Thanks, Nate.
Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Thanks so much for being here. Hopefully I'll see you guys next Monday. If you have any other questions, comments, or topics you'd like to see addressed, let's chat about those and just send them my way. All right.
Perfect. That sounds great. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.